USA.com.
Health officials are dealing with a Legionnaire's disease outbreak in New York City that has turned deadly. Legionnaire's disease is a type of pneumonia caused by bacteria that grow in warm water, the kind that thrive in plumbing systems, cooling towers, humidifiers, and the condensers of large air conditioners. Because of that, the New York City Health Department is checking the cooling systems of apartments in central Harlem, where more than 20 cases of Legionnaires and at least one death have been reported. Buildings that tested positive for the bacteria are being notified. Legionnaires does not spread from person to person, but several people in the same building can and have become infected. Sherry Preston, ABC News, New York. In the wake of ICE raids and immigration protests in Los Angeles last month, more than 1,300 more National Guard troops deployed to the city are now heading home.
The Pentagon announcing 1,350 more federalized California National Guard troops are being demobilized. Previously, 2,000 Guardsmen and 700 active duty Marines were sent home. The initial deployment involved around 5,000 troops. It comes as the unrest mostly ended over a month ago. The Pentagon says around 250 National Guardsmen will remain in L.A. to protect federal personnel and property. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
At least 25 people were hospitalized after a Delta Airbus experienced heavy turbulence during a flight from Salt Lake City to Amsterdam last night. That flight diverted to Minneapolis. Delta says all injured passengers have since been released from the hospital. I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Terry's Tiny Homes, Terry. Sure, as the only employee of her company, Terry was probably the front runner, but saving money getting personalized discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive, well, that gave Terry the edge. Over Terry.
Terry.
Keep awkwardly chanting your own name, Terry. You deserve it. Woo! Be your own Terry. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
It's now 4:05 on this sunny and hot Thursday afternoon. I'm Will Feelright with your local news headlines. Well, the Utah Department of Public Safety is urging motorcyclists to change their riding habits after July became the deadliest month on record for motorcycles in the state. 14 riders died this past month, breaking an 11-year record and bringing the year's total fatalities to 44. Now, according to the Department of Public Safety, data shows that half of the deaths this year were single vehicle crashes, a trend that officials say highlights the critical need for riders to improve their skills and reduce speeds. Now, less than 10% of the fatally injured riders had taken a skills course, and only 36% had a motorcycle endorsement on their license. Now, officials are calling on both riders and drivers to share the road, drive calm, and drive alert. Now, the warning came just days after a 19-year-old Preston, Idaho man was killed in a motorcycle crash in Blacksmith Fork Canyon on July 24th. Tegan Swainpool was on a black Kawasaki traveling westbound along SR 101 when he failed to negotiate a turn and ran off the road, plunging approximately 12 feet in the Blacksmith Fork River. Now, despite wearing a helmet, Swainpool died at the scene of the crash. Troopers report speed and inexperience were likely factors in the crash. And a youth soccer team from northern Utah recently returned home after competing in the 2025 Gothia Cup in Gothenburg, Sweden. It's the world's largest international youth soccer tournament. Now, the Northern Utah United 2011 boys team joined over 1,900 other teams from 74 countries at the annual event, which emphasizes youth, culture, and sports. Now, according to Jeff Ginn, NUU's director of coaching, the trip was about more than just soccer, providing incredible memories and friendships that hopefully will last a lifetime. Finally, a Chubbuck, Idaho man has been sentenced to at least 12 years in prison for inappropriately touching and photographing 3 teenage girls during fake online business photo shoots. Brandon Rex Brown, a 47-year-old, received a minimum of 12 years and a maximum of 40 years from a judge in Bannock County on Tuesday. Now, the sentencing came after Brown had entered Alford pleas to multiple felonies and misdemeanors. Now, the Alford plea allowed the defendant to maintain his innocence while also acknowledging that the prosecution had enough evidence for a conviction. Now, Brown was arrested back in January of last year after a mother reported that he had inappropriately touched her teenage daughter and a friend at his Pine Ridge Mall storefront. Now, victims and their families in the courtroom applauded the sentence earlier this week. Well, it's been another hot afternoon, and it looks like it's going to remain sunny and clear through the next several days. As temperatures have been in the low 90s today, tonight will drop into the mid to low 50s. Clear skies continuing into tomorrow as temperatures will be back into the low 90s, and it looks like we'll continue to see low 90s for Saturday and into Sunday. And bringing you our weather here as part of the news is Cardall's Insulation. They can help take care of your home, keep your temperatures more consistent inside your home, and make your home a lot quieter. It's Cardall's Insulation. Give them a call at 755-5012. And I'm Will Feelright with your KVNU News headlines.
When Dad's roof started leaking, we didn't know what to do. He's a retired firefighter, always helping others, never asking for help. Thanks to Roof Rescue, he's getting a brand new roof for free. Roof Rescue is giving back to veterans, teachers, first responders, real community heroes. If you know someone who deserves it, nominate them at roofrescueusa.com. When you need expert roof repair, trust Roof Rescue. Call 435-999-4268 or visit roofrescueusa.com. Roof Rescue, providing watertight peace of mind.
News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Here's what some of our patients have to say about how Red River has changed their lives.
I went the traditional medicine route, and it was not tailored to me. It was just a one-size-fits-all. It was, this is how you do the program, and it's probably not going to work. That's what everybody always told me along the way, and somebody told me about Red River. They brought me in, they did testing, and everything was catered to my body and what I was actually experiencing, which was incredible.
At Red River Health and Wellness, our whole goal is to identify the underlying mechanisms driving your condition. Once we identify those imbalances, then we'll put a treatment plan together that's specific to you, and then we improve those imbalances one by one, and then slowly teach you and educate you and show you what to do and what not to do so that you're the expert in your own health long term.
I'll never forget the day I woke up, and I went about my day, and I stopped, and I said, I feel completely normal. It really, truly not only helped me save my thyroid, but it gave me my life back.
Call Red River Health and Wellness at 855-55-RIVER.
Call Red River today.
This is Cache County Fire District Chief Brady George. Due to increasingly dry conditions and high wildfire danger, Stage 1 fire restrictions are now in effect. These restrictions apply to all unincorporated private and state lands in Cache County. These restrictions include no open fires of any kind except within established facilities or in improved campgrounds or day-use areas on public lands. No smoking except within an enclosed vehicle, trailer, or building, a developed recreation site, or while stopped in an area that is paved or free from dry vegetation. No cutting, welding, or grinding metal in areas of dry vegetation. No operating a motorcycle, chainsaw, ATV, or other small internal combustion engine without an approved and working spark arrestor. No discharging or using fireworks, tracer ammunition, or other pyrotechnic devices, including exploding targets. Any of these acts is a violation of Utah state law and is punishable by up to 6 months in jail and a fine of up to $1,000. Cache County Fire District urges all residents and visitors to use caution during outdoor activities. Preventing wildfires and protecting the beauty of Cache County is a shared responsibility.
KVNU's For the People with Jason Williams and Bill Walter.
And it is Utah known as the fraud capital of the world. Not because we have more people committing fraud, but because we have so many people falling for it.
Going beneath the headlines and connecting you to the newsmakers.
The radio is a great way to get the word out to a lot of people in an emergency. So we thank you for your help and being a partner with us.
For the People on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM, 102.1 FM, online at 610kvnu.com and on the KVNU mobile app.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is Thursday, July 31st. July went by really fast. It is 88 degrees here at the Radio Ranch at 4:11 in the afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jason Williams. We have another candidate spotlight coming up later on in the show today. Mark Anderson will sit down with us again to talk about his campaign and the primary underway. By the way, your ballots are out there. If you haven't gotten yours by say tomorrow, you may want to go in and talk to the clerk next week. And also tomorrow is the deadline for registration to request a ballot in the primary. That can be done at vote.utah.gov. We'll get to that in hour 2. Here in hour 1, it's time for this week's For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill here in the studio. And Charlie, hello. Wrong microphone.
Turn me on.
Wrong microphone. It's been one of those days all around.
I noticed that long intro.
It was kind of a Monday on a Thursday today. Speaking of which, I don't know if anybody's ever done this before, but I had to go back to my vehicle to grab some glasses before I came in here, and for some reason, absentmindedly, I opened the door, unlocked the door, opened the door, grabbed the glasses off of the center console, and then I almost tossed my keys into the car on the seat, locked the door, and shut it. I caught it at the last minute, and I thought, all right, that's it. After the show today, I'm just going home. I'm not going to handle any heavy equipment or sharp instruments. I'm calling it a day. But theater world, it is popping.
Well, yes, under normal circumstances, in a normal year, last week, the Lyric would have shut down its main stage productions, and the Utah Festival Opera would have shut down its main stage productions.
That's right.
And we'd be in a lull.
Until the fall shows start.
But this ain't a normal year, boys and girls.
I noticed that. It is, it's hard to say for sure, but this has to change some things for the better. And not saying things were bad before, but this summer has really shown what's possible, I think.
I think everybody is going to pile on.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's probably a point somewhere where you hit a threshold where it's like, okay, that was too much. those seats were empty.
There's what this summer is probably teaching groups like Four Seasons in Smithfield and Cash Theater Company is that there is room for them to produce shows and stage shows in the summer.
Yeah.
Even in competition with UFOMT and the Lyric. And more power to them, I say.
And I feel like the conventional wisdom always was, and there was probably some sense to this at a time, but there's only so much air in the room, so much energy out there, and so you don't plan when other big things that are going to be. The Festival Opera is going to be a huge draw, and so you don't schedule something around that same time.
But
you could. I
think the deal this year has taught us and taught the summer citizens that there are more things to be done here in Logan than just the Festival Opera.
Yeah.
You can go to the Lyric, and they did in droves.
Yeah.
The Lyric had a record year for ticket sales.
A few sold-out shows.
Yeah. And those sold-out shows were in, well, they weren't really sold out. But, I mean...
but pretty packed.
At the Morgan Theater, of course, they don't use the seating that's on the east and west of the thrust stage.
Yeah.
They just pack the two center banks of seats. But they were getting packed.
Yeah. The high school kids, I heard... they had 18 shows of Les Miserables and 2 different casts, and sort of. And there was a lot of mixing between the two. But and then when we had Bronco in the studio recording with them, I mentioned to him that he played he was very good at playing a drunkard, and I didn't mention his lead role for quite some time, and you could see on his face he was about to correct me. Because if you only saw the one cast, that's all you saw him in.
Well, yeah.
He was playing a drunkard in an ensemble. So finally he spoke up and he said, I have another role. And I said, I know. But no, they sold out the Utah Theater.
Multiple times.
Four times. And out of 18 shows. And all the other shows were packed. Again, the point is, I think hurting no one, meaning no one would suffer for this. The Utah Festival Opera isn't going to have a hard time selling tickets if someone else does a show.
No.
But I think we've now proven that you could have 2 or 3 things going during those Festival Opera weeks. And I don't know.
Well, again, we've always had the lyric playing opposite the Festival Opera. What harm is there if Four Seasons does the same thing?
Yeah.
Or if Music Theater West does the same thing, or if CTC does the same thing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I honestly, and I think they've proven the audience is there. Between locals, people who would drive from the Wasatch Front in Salt Lake, and the summer citizens, you've got enough of a potential audience to have something happening at every theater every week.
And we should all sit and hold our breaths waiting for next summer, because that's when we'll see how it goes.
Because that's basically how next summer's stacking up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks like that is going to be the case. You're going to have the return of Festival Opera in a bit more of a limited compared to what they've done in the past.
Well, they're going to do Pirates of Penzance, and they're going to do 1776, which are both big cast musicals.
Yeah.
And should be
fun.
a major draw.
I think Pirates will sell out every show.
And I love the music from 1776.
Those are both just
and it's perfect timing.
Yeah, that's it is the year for 1776 next year.
And then they're going to do a couple small shows, kind of like what they did when they were coming back from COVID in 2021.
Yeah.
So, and those were very successful years again.
I think, honestly, this is, again, it's so hard to talk about this because you don't want to sound like you're celebrating the absence of the Utah Festival Opera in its regular footprint.
But the more the merrier.
Yeah. I think the silver lining of this, of them taking a year off to regroup and fundraise and all that, I think is everybody has maybe seen a little bit of a light bulb go on with, okay, there is a bigger audience out there through the summer months than we thought. And we can do more. And so that's just kind of exciting to think about.
Well, yeah. And, the key feature was always the summer citizens.
Yeah.
And they've proven this year that they'll go see anything you can put on.
Yeah, literally. And maybe multiple times. That's a ticket sold. So For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill here in the studio underway right now. Stick around. There's a lot to talk about, as we've just kind of hinted at. There's a lot going on. Normally this would be a slowdown time as we transition out of the summer season into the fall. But not this year. Summer season, a few more weeks left. And we'll be back right after this.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
Hey, so I'm going to ask you a question and then give you some time to think about the answer. Who do you know that seems checked out, distant, off? Did someone come to mind? Great. Think of a way you can check in with them. Maybe a text, a call, or a visit. It doesn't have to be something big, because just trying can be a big deal. Connection can prevent suicide.
Let's connect. Come be part of Ignite the Light, August 7th at the Cache County Fair and Rodeo. Let's help shine a light on mental health and suicide prevention with professional resource help. Guest speaker JT Laybourne at 7 and a free concert beginning at 8. Your connection matters. Bring mental health and suicide prevention to light. August 7th at the Cache County Fair and Rodeo. Google Ignite the Light for details.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hey, Joe, I thought you were retired.
Living on a fixed income is tough. So here I am, an essential worker.
I know. I mean, food prices are going up every day. Thank goodness for benefitscheckup.org.
Benefits what?
benefitscheckup.org. It's a free website where people over 60 can find help to pay for food, medicine, even utilities. I got $1,200 a year in benefits. Maybe it can help you.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill here in the studio. Candidate for Logan City Mayor and current City Council member Mark Anderson joining us in Hour 2. If you have questions or comments, phone lines will be open. And this is getting way ahead here, but I just have to mention I got, so that I'm not so last minute about some of this stuff, some of the fun stuff, but the don't have to stuff. There's have to stuff. Like I bought my tickets for Hadestown next March. Back when they announced it. Those are some of the have to things for me. I don't want to miss them. But the fun stuff, I got my Choir of Man and Red Hot Chili Pipers tickets at the Eccles. That is September and January. So I'm actually planning ahead here.
Good.
And I'm
You're
really
going to enjoy Choir of Man. It's a sensational show.
I was, after you saw that last year and came in and reviewed it, I regretted missing that. That sounds fun. And I'm really, in October, the Frankenstein comic book thing, I'm really intrigued by that. I don't know what to expect, but I grabbed my tickets for that too. But again, that's getting way ahead.
I think we're going to be seeing something similar to the Toxic Avenger.
That's sort of, yeah. It's kind of what I'm thinking. And I'm just...
And that was fun.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see this one. And for people out there, again, getting way ahead here, but this is, somewhat famous because it spent some time on and in the same circles of big Broadway shows. But Stomp is at the Eccles in early December for 2 nights only. And while just out of curiosity, I was clicking through, looking at seat maps and tickets and things like that. And Stomp is selling. In fact, that first night, main floor and balcony, pretty picked over already for a December 2nd show.
Oh.
A lot more options December 3rd the next night. But so just giving everybody a tip there, if you want to see Stomp, which, yeah, I mean, if you've seen him before, this is one of those things you only have to see once. It's always the same, but it's really cool. And if you want to see that, that show is selling.
Okay, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
That took me way down the road. I'll come back.
We've got a full dance card this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm going out of here tonight after the show goes down at 5 to see the Lyric doing Christmas in Montpelier again.
The extended edition, as I understand it. They've added some stuff.
They added some stuff because Richie Gall confessed that while that in December when they were doing this, he was not happy with the amount of script he had memorized, and they
thought it was too long. They
decided to drop a couple of things out, and they've restored them now.
They decided they didn't.
He feels much more confident.
It would be hard not to listen to him ahead of time on something like that because he knows what he's doing, both on stage and behind the scenes. But yeah, it's nice to know they've decided they can handle a little more content in that.
Think about it.
Was it just an hour? I think it
was just an hour. You're right, but. I'm up on stage, and this is a one-man show, and I got to memorize a whole hour of dialogue with nobody else to help me, okay?
Yeah. That
takes guts.
I would want it kept to an hour.
This is the same guy who did, the Lyndon Johnson shows
Oh, that's right.
Back when we did COVID,
with the video screens.
With the video screens, and you know how gutsy that has to be because your timing has to be perfect.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that, and that was creatively done.
You got it, and gutsy.
Yeah, that was. In fact, I'd like to see a show like that again. I know that one was kind of done out of necessity almost, but that was just.
I think that was a labor of love. I mean, he did, The Great Society, and the following year he did All the Way.
That was the same time, huh?
Yeah.
That was a busy time for him.
Yes.
I forgot that was all packed in a 18-month period.
Yeah.
And that was sort of when everybody started talking about him. When you started hearing his name all the time.
Oh, for goodness sake. People have been talking about Richie Call forever. The first time I ever saw him perform, he was doing Lend Me a Tenor, and he was singing opera on stage.
Really?
And he was damn good.
That is funny. It's fun to run into people who have worked with him because they almost always say the same thing. One of the funniest people that they've ever met, and then they pause for a second and say, but so professional. Almost as if they've insulted him by calling him funny.
The funny thing is, earlier this week, he did a Facebook post where he ceremoniously cut off his mustache. Now, what he says is the black mustache was what made him hateful in Braveheart or in Bright Star.
Okay.
So cutting it off means he's returned to the fold as a nice guy.
That's very funny.
And I wondered whether he would do that because, you can't play a teenage Ross Peterson with a mustache. It just doesn't work.
That doesn't work well. Oh, he was so good in that role, though, in Bright Star.
Oh, yeah.
And kind of stole the show. Hell.
Well, yeah, but, who else has got the gall to close Act One by throwing a baby into in a satchel off a train into a river?
That was I think that's the first time
the whole audience goes.
Yeah, it's the first time I've ever seen anything like that where there's a gasp, almost like a physical reaction from the audience. You see heads pull back and then silence.
And sometimes, and sometimes, the lights go back up high. It's intermission, and the audience doesn't applaud.
Yeah,
because they don't want anybody to think they're applauding you just killed the baby.
Yeah. That's why it was so intriguing because so that happens. There's the gasp. The audience physically recoils from the stage when they see that scene. It's so horrific. And then the lights go down and no one knows what to do. The act has ended. You're supposed to applaud.
It's very quiet.
But it's just quiet. And then there were these little just kind of single claps. And then finally everyone clapped. But it took a second. Speaking of that, so Bright Star is wrapped. They're done with everything, right?
Everything except Christmas Montpelier.
Christmas Montpelier.
At which will play tonight and Friday night and 2 performances, a matinee and an evening show on Saturday night. And that's it for them.
And I heard a rumor, I don't know if you've heard this or if it will be confirmed soon, but I heard a rumor there is some video out there of Wendy Hassan, some of her remarks, and the recognition event for her during the July 7th Fosco Call Spotlight episode that may be making its way onto a lyric YouTube channel.
Well, the idea was,
I hope so.
The idea was to create a podcast. That's what there's definite segments that they record during that show, and she was a pistol.
Yeah, people were talking about her remarks and her stories, some of the stories she told. And so, I hope that pops up because I'd buy a ticket to that, even if I just, it's just access to screen, see it online. But very cool stuff.
Oh, one thing I should mention while we're...
Wow, Christmas Montpelier tickets are cheap.
Oh, yeah.
I just noticed that. $15.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Well, they don't have to cover royalties for the show.
That's true.
It's homegrown.
It's an original work from a local, yeah.
Now, there's one thing I should mention in case we don't get back to it. The Neil Diamond Show, So Good, starring Robert Neary at the Eccles, starts at 6 p.m. on Saturday.
Wow, really?
6.
Not
7:30. That's what I put in the original story I wrote. And they quickly called me up and said, no, it's at 6.
That's odd. Wonder why.
I don't know. He may be rushing to get to another performance somewhere else following night. I don't know.
It's an early start time.
I guess.
That is, looking at tickets for that, too, which, by the way, are also pretty cheap for a show like this. But there's a lot of interest in this, to say the least. I wouldn't call this sold out, but pretty picked over for seating options. You're going to be
these tribute shows have the turnout for me has been very, very surprising.
Yeah.
Even when you bring them back after
we've had 2 come back twice.
Yeah. The ABBA show.
Yeah.
And
Carpenters? No.
No, well, yeah, the Carpenters did come back twice, but who was it? The Fleetwood Mac show.
That's the one.
Played here and then played at Lionheart Hall, I think.
Yeah,
and
that's right. They came back the next year at Lionheart
and did very, very well.
Yeah,
people like these shows.
And it's fun. It's a great way to celebrate the music.
And a lot of them are not spectaculars, like the
the Elton John one.
The Elton John show.
That was a full-on production.
That was a great show.
Set pieces and costumes,
and he can play the piano. Russ Anderson. I've never seen anybody play a piano like that. And, he puts you in mind not just of Elton John.
Yeah.
But of Jerry Lee Lewis when he was young.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, but
that kind of energy at the keyboard.
Yeah.
That is, I found, speaking of this before we go to the news, I found a funny quote from Elton John about Russ Anderson. And this made me laugh. And it reads, despite the fact that the man can't properly spell his name, it's Russ with one S. But I love that. He starts out a complimentary reaction to this tribute. Elton John says, Sir Elton John, I should say, says, despite the fact that he can't properly spell his name, the man is actually quite talented. I thought about hiring him as a session musician. And then he's asked by the journalist, are you joking? And he said, no. Actually, we talked about bringing him in as a touring backup for me as I aged and maybe needed somebody to play the keys for me while I took a break. And he said we didn't end up doing that, but we actually talked about reaching out to Russ to say, how much would you need to do this behind the stage? And I thought that was pretty cool, but I love that. Despite the fact that the man can't properly spell his name.
Well, he's a Scot, okay?
That is...
You're lucky he can speak English.
That's right. And he sounds very British when he's got his Elton John persona on.
Well, yeah, he's supposed to.
Yeah.
But that means he's dropping the Irish brogue.
That's right.
Of course, he's been in the United States for years and years and years.
Yeah.
So.
Still got the little bit of the brogue, but... and if you've seen any video of this, Robert Neary playing Neil Diamond in the So Good Neil Diamond tribute, or Neil Diamond Experience, it's called, he does it very well, too. He looks and sounds like Neil Diamond, singing and talking. And, again, that show is pretty picked over already for the Saturday, August 2nd at 6 p.m., as Charlie mentioned, an unusual start time for an Eccles show earlier in the evening. But if you want groups of, say, 4 together, you're going to be in the balcony. None of that left on the main lower level there. So that's as close to sold out as the Eccles ever gets. So grab them now if you want them.
People like these shows.
Yeah. All right. We'll be back with more of the For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill right after this look at the news with KVNU's We'll Feel Right.
Well, thank you, Jason. A Delta Airlines flight en route from Salt Lake City to Amsterdam was forced to make an emergency landing in Minneapolis last night after encountering significant turbulence mid-flight. Now, 25 people on board were hospitalized for evaluation and care. The Delta flight, DL-56, had 275 passengers and 13 crew and had departed Salt Lake City at around 4:30. Now, at approximately 2 hours into the 9-hour flight, the aircraft experienced severe turbulence over Minnesota. Now, a passenger, Leanne Clement Nash, said that the pilot reported the plane plunged about 1,000 feet.
If you didn't have your seatbelt on, everyone that didn't have, they hit the ceiling and then they fell to the ground. And the carts also hit the ceiling.
Now, the plane landed safely in Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport, where it was met by medical teams. Delta expressed gratitude to emergency responders and stated that its care team assisted those affected customers. Meanwhile, an 88-year-old West Jordan man, Ronald Charles Jones, is now facing multiple felony charges after allegedly sexually assaulting a 6-year-old girl. Now, Jones, who has a prior conviction for sexual solicitation, was arrested on Tuesday. Now, he's been charged with multiple felonies, according to the arrest affidavit. Back on July 9th, Jones allegedly offered a victim candy, which he had done previously as she rode her bicycle home. He then reportedly took her into his bedroom, kissed her, inappropriately touched her before she left. Now, the victim was interviewed at the Children's Justice Center on Tuesday, and Jones was subsequently booked into the Salt Lake County Metro Jail. Now, the affidavit notes that Jones is an influential member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and has held several positions within the church. Investigators have expressed concern about his access to other children in the community and are asking that he be held without bail. And the Monroe Canyon fire continues to rage in central Utah, prompting new evacuation orders and also some widespread power outages. Now, the wildfire has scorched over 36,600 acres and remains only 11% contained. Now, Sevier County Emergency Management yesterday ordered more evacuations for the surrounding area, particularly in Monroe Canyon and the Poverty Flats area. In addition to that, though, nearly 3,000 homes have been experiencing power outages due to the fire being close to transmission lines. Now, the Monroe Canyon fire started back on July 13th and continues to exhibit what firefighters are calling extreme fire behavior. Well, we're going to continue to see hot and dry conditions, and it's not going to provide any relief for firefighting efforts over the next several days, as temperatures going to stay in the low 90s through the rest of the afternoon. Tonight will drop into the mid to low 50s, and then more sunny and clear skies tomorrow and into the weekend, as temperatures are going to stay right around 91 to 93 degrees. And weather this hour is brought to you by Firehouse Subs, that, of course, brings you our Above and Beyond salute each week. This past Friday, we recognized Angie Atwood as our latest Above and Beyond salute winner. A citizen had nominated Angie, explaining how, for the last 15 years, she's been working with children born with hearing problems. Now, if you'd like to nominate somebody, just go to our website, kvnutalk.com, and we could be contacting that person tomorrow morning and giving them a $40 gift card to Firehouse Subs. And with your KVNU News headlines here at the bottom of the hour, I'm Will Feelright.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The White House says U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee will visit aid distribution sites in Gaza tomorrow. It comes as reports of starvation grow with each day in the war-torn enclave. ABC's Ian Panel is at the Keren Shalom crossing at the Gaza border.
This is really where it's happening. We've been seeing those terrible images of children starving, reports of malnutrition. Well, this is an attempt to try and alleviate it. This is Israel into Gaza. We're seeing a flow of aid crossing over the border and trying to reach some of those people in desperate need. Aid agencies saying this is just a trickle. What they need is a flood.
Last-minute trade talks are taking place before President Trump's tariffs go into effect. That's midnight tonight. The White House earlier announcing the U.S. and Mexico have agreed to extend their current agreement another 90 days. And a teacher has been charged in the double murder of an Arkansas couple at a state park. He's being held without bond.
My neighbor stopped by the other day to borrow a torque wrench, and he said, "How does your house stay so cool in this heat?" I'll tell you what I told him. Call Cardall's Insulation and get your insulation checked. I'm serious. That's what I did, and I can't believe the difference it has made in our home. Or maybe you just want to insulate your garage or an attic. Call Cardall's. When you call Cardall's, make sure to ask them about the $1,200 tax credit. 755-5012. Or look them up online. Cardall's Insulation. 755-5012.
Bringing Wall Street to Main Street. From your local experts in downtown Logan, this is the Adams Wealth Advisors Market Report.
Hi, this is Brooke with Adams Wealth Advisors. Stocks eased slightly on Thursday as investors took a cautious stance ahead of potential tariff announcements expected at midnight Eastern Time. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 330 points to close at 44,131. The Nasdaq declined 0.55% to 23,218, while the S&P 500 slipped 0.37% to 6,339. The Russell 2000, which tracks smaller companies, dropped 0.93% to 2,212. Sector performance reflected a defensive tone. Communication services and utilities saw modest gains, signaling a shift towards more stable areas of the market. Industrials held steady, while most other sectors declined. Healthcare was the day's biggest loser, down 2.8% after the White House urged drug makers to extend lower pricing guarantees for Medicaid. Real estate and materials also saw losses of more than 1%. In bonds, the 5-year Treasury yield held steady, suggesting investors are weighing fewer chances of a September rate cut against safe haven demand. The 10-year yield dipped slightly to 4.37%. Economic data sent mixed signals. Jobless claims were lower than expected, reinforcing a stronger labor market. However, the employment cost index rose slightly more than forecasted. Personal income increased 0.3%, beating expectations, while spending also rose 0.3%, though slightly below forecasts. Inflation measures, both headline and core PCE, were 0.1% above expectations. The Chicago Business Barometer surprised to the upside but remained in contraction. Looking ahead, tomorrow brings several key reports: the July jobs report, final readings on manufacturing activity, construction spending, auto sales, and consumer sentiment, all of which will offer further insight into the economy's momentum.
That's your update from Adams Wealth Advisors, guiding your financial future one day at a time. For personalized help planning yours, reach out to us at 435-752-1702. See you soon, Cache Valley. Advisory services offered through Adams Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. For important disclosures and more information, visit adamswealthadvisors.com.
PTA can help enrich your child's life and learning experience. Join us today.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill here in the studio. And I don't remember where we left off, Charlie. We talked about the lyric, right? No. Neil Diamond. We talked about Neil Diamond. Neil Diamond Experience on Saturday. That's where we left.
Splitting that right down the middle, because we talked about Friday and we talked about Saturday,
yeah,
on Thursday and Saturday. Blithe Spirit is going to open at Skyview High School on Friday.
I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, should be a good show. It's like old home week. I mean, the cast is Stanton Allen and Celeste Bale and Melinda Richards. Everybody you've always seen in Four Seasons and Festival or Music Theater West Productions.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's clips of it on the internet right now, and it looks like it's going to be funny.
That is now Stanton Allen. This is not his day job.
No,
He's a dentist, I think, isn't he?
I'm not sure.
Someone told me that, and I think that's really unique. I don't know if that's true. But
well,
he's talented on the stage.
T.J. Davis was going to be
that's right,
a dentist. Quit dental school to write plays for Pickleville.
And they still tease him about that on stage sometimes. Wasn't it last year there was a kind of a joke about a dental school or something in one of the Pickleville shows? I don't remember. Yeah. That is very cool. 4 Seasons, they're always good. And this is kind of a smaller cast for them, smaller show for them.
It's a small show, and that's the reason why they've kind of roped off a smaller section of the auditorium there at Skyview. So they're advising people to go out and get their tickets early because, this thing is going to run this weekend and next weekend. But there's a limited number of performances, and there's a limited number of seats.
Yeah.
Not as limited as 39 Steps last summer, where they put 164 seats on the stage itself.
That's right.
But it's still going to be tight.
Yeah, this is a show worth fighting the crowd for a little bit. Get your tickets to this one. Is fun the right word?
What?
I don't know if fun is the right word for this story.
It's a Neil Coward show, or a Noel Coward show. It was written in the 1940s. Actually, he went to some seaside resort in England, and while he was dodging the Blitz, while the Germans were bombing London, and he wrote the play in about a week.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's very cool. How would you like to be that talented? Just wing one out over a long weekend and.
Well, he was dodging the Blitz. You can't blame him.
That's fair enough. I would be looking for something to occupy my mind as well if I were caught in the middle of that. This is a 2-weekend run, right? You said,
yeah.
So
the Friday and Saturday of this week, and I believe it's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week.
Okay.
And Saturday. There's a matinee on Saturday.
And then, are they done for the year? 4 Seasons? No. They're doing a Christmas.
They're doing a Christmas show.
That's right. That's December 4th through the 13th. So, Blithe Spirit tickets are on sale now, fourseasonstheater.org. And their last production, I didn't see, Matilda. That was back in June. So they've kind of been hitting it every couple of months all year long.
And their version of Matilda was good.
Really?
Yes. I don't like the show.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. But they managed to take a teen chorus and a chorus of preteens, put them on the stage, and let them work. And they were amazing.
That is,
and that's what makes the show work.
That's very cool.
If the kids in that show are good, and that's the only reason to have the show, is to have a mob of kids on the stage.
Yeah.
If they're good, they can sell that show, and they did.
That is, people were fans. I'm with you. It's not one for me. The content, not the production value.
Well,
but
again, the whole thing is a little, towards the end of the show, suddenly the girl has psychic powers.
Yeah.
And that's hard to sell with limited budgets and, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You need a couple of really good tricks to make that thing work.
Yeah. And
they managed to pull it off.
That's very cool. That is. Now, if I remember Blithe Spirit, you don't need a lot of special effects or even much of a set. This is
No, you don't.
This is a very plot-driven show.
The point is the the hero, Stanton Allen, has writer's block. He can't write. I think he's a playwright. And they go and do a seance. And after the seance, suddenly the ghost of his dead wife shows up, which kind of ticks off his current wife.
She's a little annoyed by that.
And she supposedly can't see the ghost. Only he can see the ghost.
Yeah.
So it's a wink deal, you know. Okay, we're going to put her on stage and let her go wild.
That is,
and everybody's going to pretend they can't see her.
Yeah, that's right. Act normal. That's what I remember from seeing this the first time. Is a lot of that kind of facial expression on the act normal. All right, For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill underway here, and we've got a bit more to cover, so stick around. We'll be back right after this.
At Mountain Valley Heating and Air Conditioning, Feel the Love is more than just heating and cooling. It means giving back. 5 complete HVAC systems will be donated to a deserving person or family. Feel the love and nominate that person or family in need at mtnvalleyhvac.com. Nominate prior to September 1st, 2025. See website for all details.
This is Brent Wallace with Cache Valley Bank. This summer, creativity pays off at Cache Valley Bank. Come check out our coloring contest happening now through August 15th. Kids ages 15 and under can pick up a coloring sheet at any of our branches, return their finished drawing, and get free swag just for entering. Winners in each age group could take home exciting prizes like a Nintendo Switch, Tony Box Bundle, or even a $500 savings account. Plus, check out our special bonus offer. Open a Cache Valley Bank Youth Savings account and we'll match your opening deposit up to $50. Bring your kids to color, create, and start building good money habits. Now for all the disclosures. 1 coloring entry and match deposit per child. Offer valid through August 15th, 2025. $25 minimum deposit required. Deposit match provided at the time of account opening. Fees may reduce earnings on account. 0.45% starting annual percentage yield. Cache Valley Bank. Member FDIC.
More than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio for their news, weather, sports, and a community connection. It's the backbone of the emergency alert system. It's critical that we keep AM radio in cars because when cell and internet services are down, this free emergency service could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill here in the studio. Coming up in hour 2, we'll kick things off with Logan City Council member and candidate for mayor in the primary that is underway as we speak. Your ballots should already be in your home. If they're not, give the county clerk a call tomorrow or visit them in person and see what's up. Check your registration at vote.utah.gov. Tomorrow is also registration deadline to request a ballot in the primary. So a lot of election stuff to talk about next hour. We've still got some theater stuff to cover. We've covered all the things this weekend, right?
Well,
for the most part.
But on Monday, Garrison Keeler is going to come in and do his show about growing old gracefully.
That's right.
And that's at the Eccles Theater. That will be at 7:30, not 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Keeler's been performing as an author and a humorist and a singer and a voice actor and God only knows what else.
Yeah.
For 40 years.
It's wild to think about.
Yeah.
As a career.
He was a fixture on Minnesota Public Radio until he ran across some legal problems with them that we won't go into.
That's right.
But he'll be doing his one-man show, and that should be an interesting experience for everybody.
And I wonder, well, we won't get into it. I wonder if he's going to talk about some of those issues.
I rather doubt it. For what he was trying to do for years was get his archive of Prairie Home Companion back on Minnesota Public Radio.
Oh, right.
And
like in syndication.
Yes, and part of the settlement did put his archive back on the radio station.
Okay.
Otherwise, they won't touch him.
Which is really too bad because he's almost a historical event himself, just his career.
Well, yeah.
And I kind of stumbled across he and Studs Terkel at the same time. These and I think of them as these oral historians, basically. Garrison does it through storytelling and personal anecdotes. Studs Terkel did it through just sitting down talking to people and recording it and then turning those into books. But it's the most fascinating way to learn history and culture through these anecdotal stories. And yeah.
Well, he's got a daily podcast now called The Writer's Almanac.
Oh, really? I didn't know that was him.
Where he pairs poems with historical events that fall on the same date.
Oh, interesting. I'd heard of that podcast. I didn't know that was him. Interesting. He has a voice. Once you hear his voice, you know who we're talking about. And that is the 4th, right? August 4th at the Eccles?
That's right.
Garrison Keillor.
Monday, August 4th.
All right. There you have it. We brought you up to speed, at least until next weekend, when there will be more. And we'll get to that next week. Every Thursday at 4, join us for the For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill. You can read Charlie's reviews and more at CashValleyDaily.com in between now and then. And stick around. Mark Anderson, candidate for Logan City Mayor, our guest to kick off Hour 2 of today's show right after this here on KVNU Logan.